You are bent double in the garden, furiously tearing out the very thing you will pay for at the pharmacy on Monday. A brilliant economic loop, forcing you to hate a free raw material just to sell you its exact extract in a glossy blister pack. Pharmaceutical corporations absolutely love your craving for a perfect lawn. While you burn dandelions and pour poison on couch grass, you are single-handedly destroying powerful hepatoprotectors, purine metabolism stimulants, and natural silicon for your crunchy joints. Today, we will dissect 33 so-called weeds that you curse and throw into the compost. 33 biological machines right under your feet capable of replacing half of your home medicine cabinet with no marketing markups or prescriptions. Throw away your hoe. We are starting. Fact 1. The yellow enemy of the perfect lawn upon which we waste liters of toxic herbicides while our liver quietly begs for mercy. Did you really believe that commercials with smiling actors offer you a unique panacea for digestion? What touching gullibility! The root of an ordinary dandelion is a powerful hepatoprotector that restores liver cells just as well as, and often better than, expensive pharmacy drugs based on essential phospholipids. While we stuff ourselves with fried potatoes and wash them down with sweet soda, hoping for a miracle pill, this weed contains substances that trigger a total reconstruction of damaged tissues. Scientifically speaking, its bitter glycosides work like a crew of aggressive cleaners flushing toxins out of your ducts. If the Matrix existed, Agent Smith would definitely sell you synthetic pills while Neo brewed dandelion roots in his kitchen. We destroy free medicine to sponsor someone else's yachts. Good luck explaining this logic to your gastroenterologist. Fact 2. The creeping nightmare of the garden beds named chickweed, which we disgustedly throw over the fence by the bucket load. It sounds incredible, but this moist and inconspicuous weed phenomenally draws out the most severe inflammation. We obediently trudge to the pharmacy for chemical ointments, read a long list of side effects, and smear a substance smelling like aviation fuel over our aching joints. In reality, a compress made of banal crushed chickweed relieves swelling from aching knees faster than you can say the word arthritis. Its tissues work like a biological sponge, literally sucking the heat and inflammatory process right out of the joint. Imagine a comic book superhero whose only superpower is taking away someone else's pain. That is exactly what chickweed does, just without the tight spandex and epic music. We stubbornly ignore this gift of nature, preferring to enrich the industry that produces colored tubes. Your grandfather clearly knew more about medicine than modern marketers do. Fact 3. Creeping couch grass, whose white threads of roots haunt gardeners in their worst nightmares. Seriously, we spend weeks of our lives digging the soil into a powder just to get rid of this monster. And now, a surprise for those whose backs crunch and necks ache. Couchgrass roots contain a massive dose of natural silicic acid. This is the exact element critically needed for restoring destroyed bone tissue and treating osteochondrosis. A decoction of these hated white strings works like liquid cement for the microcracks in your bones. We buy synthetic calcium that deposits anywhere but where it is needed, while bioavailable silicon literally lies right under our feet. If a cyborg needed to repair its endoskeleton in the field, it would boil couchgrass. Throwing it into the fire is like burning stacks of cash while complaining about poverty. It is highly ironic that we ruin our backs precisely when weeding out our best cure for back pain. Fact 4. Goutweed, an aggressive occupant taking over the shady corners of our yards at the speed of a forest fire. You have probably cursed the day it appeared under your apple tree more than once. However, deep in the Middle Ages, this very weed saved entire monasteries from excruciating diseases. Goutweed has a unique chemical profile. It precisely regulates purine metabolism and flushes uric acid out of the body. This means it treats gout and rheumatism without heavy pills that destroy your stomach. Its mechanism of action is similar to a perfect customs officer ruthlessly deporting salt crystals from your joints. We consider ourselves the crown of creation, eating steaks and washing them down with wine and then howling from pain in our big toes. If we had even half the wisdom of ancient monks, we would not fight gout with, but carefully gather it for a salad. But no, we prefer to suffer intelligently, holding a receipt from a paid clinic in our hands. Your inflamed joint gives you a standing ovation. Fact 5. Knotgrass, that tough weed covering every village path with a dense green carpet. We trample it under our feet every single day without even thinking about its hidden potential. It is nature's brazen mockery of modern neurology. The silicon compounds in knotgrass have a fantastic property. Carefully, layer by layer, they turn hard kidney stones into fine sand and imperceptibly flush them out. Instead of lying down for ultrasonic crushing or swallowing handfuls of antispasmodics, you could just brew the weed growing by your porch. It is as if you were trying to break a brick wall with your forehead while holding a remote control for a bulldozer in your pocket. Knotgrass works slowly but inevitably, like time, dissolving mineral deposits softly and painlessly. If I wanted to sell you this effect in a clinic, I would call it nanolithotripsy and hand you a bill with 4 zeros. It is amazing how diligently we ignore what is given for free. Fact 6. The humble shepherd's purse with its funny seeds shaped like little hearts. Most of us do not even notice it until it overruns half the garden, and that is a huge mistake. This inconspicuous little weed is a real vault of vitamin K in such concentrations that it works as one of the most powerful natural hemostatic drugs for internal bleeding. While we frantically search the medicine cabinet for chemical coagulants, nature has long since created the perfect bandage for our blood vessels. Its extract forces blood to clot at damaged sites with the precision of a Swiss watch. From a historical perspective, this plant saved thousands of lives long before surgical threads appeared. Imagine a microscopic team of welders working inside you, instantly sealing holes in your pipes. We look at shepherd's purse as trash, even though it could replace half the contents of a first aid kit. Gladiators of Rome would have traded their best sword for such a plant, and we just mow it down with a trimmer. Fact 7. The giant burdock, whose fleshy roots go deeper into the earth than our knowledge of our own health. Get ready for a paradigm shift. The root of this green monster consists of almost 50% inulin. It is the purest natural prebiotic that lowers blood sugar levels, working as the most natural and safe diabetes prevention. We buy up diet sweets with fructose in supermarkets, which only exacerbate the problem, and sponsor insulin production, while the real salvation breaks our shovels when we try to dig it up. Burdock inulin works in the gut as a perfect moderator. It feeds the beneficial microflora and blocks glucose spikes. It is as if you hired an elite financial advisor to control every single sugar molecule in your body. We pay huge money for jars labeled prebiotic produced in a chemical plant when we could just wash a root. Diabetes rubs its hands together gleefully, looking at your ignorance. Fact 8. The yellow button-like flowers of tansy, whose smell is impossible to confuse with anything else. You think it is just a bitter weed, good for nothing but repelling moths? Not even close. Tansy contains thujoni, a substance that acts on intestinal parasites like nerve gas. We stuff ourselves and our children with harsh, toxic deworming pills that hit the liver with the force of a boxing hook. At the same time, tansy simply paralyzes uninvited guests, forcing them to leave the cozy resort of your intestines without the slightest harm to your body. The mechanism is like evicting violent tenants from an apartment using a SWAT team, fast, tough, and without long conversations. If Hollywood directors made a movie about a war inside the stomach, tansy would be the main weapon of mass destruction. We prefer to poison ourselves with chemicals just to avoid dealing with our grandfather's recipes. Your internal parasites applaud your loyalty to the pharmaceutical industry. Fact 9. Broadleaf plantain, the hero of our scraped childhood knees. Forget this pathetic stereotype about spitting on it and applying it to a wound. That is a massive oversimplification of its true power. Plantain extract contains allantoin, a unique compound capable of healing bleeding stomach ulcers from the inside. It does not just relieve the symptom, it covers erosions with a strong protective film, giving tissues a chance to regenerate. We swallow antacids by the handful, quench the acid, disrupt digestion, and naively wait for healing. Meanwhile, plantain acts like a professional plasterer, sealing the cracks on the walls of your stomach with elite biocement. It is as if you were trying to put out a burning house by pouring expensive champagne on it while a free fire hydrant stands nearby. Nature handed us the perfect repair kit for the gastrointestinal tract, but we prefer to chew white pills that taste like chalk. Your gastritis laughs quietly at your choice. Fact 10. Stinging nettle from which we shy away into the bushes at the mere thought of blisters. It is a blatant lie that citrus fruits are the kings of vitamin C. Ordinary nettle leaves contain exactly twice as much of it as your praised lemons brought from across the ocean. Moreover, it is a hugely powerful anti-anemic stimulant. Nettle chlorophyll is almost identical in structure to human hemoglobin. A decoction of it raises iron levels in the blood faster and more efficiently than liters of pomegranate juice or synthetic capsules that make you nauseous in the morning. We buy exotic fruits coated in wax for preservation, while the perfect blood stimulant grows right by the compost pit. If you were offered legal doping that makes your blood as oxygen-rich as an Olympic champion's, you would pay any money. But since it burns bare legs, we declared it an enemy. Hemoglobin has left the chat. Fact 11. Celandine, that very Russian ginseng with caustic orange sap looking like alien blood. Do you really think that liquid nitrogen in a clinic or a laser is the only way to get rid of skin growths? Congratulations, you are the perfect consumer of cosmetology services. Celandine sap contains a complex cocktail of toxic alkaloids that precisely burn out warts and the human papillomavirus at the cellular level. This is not just cauterization, it is a targeted chemical strike against the virus's DNA. It works like a sniper, destroying defective cells and leaving healthy ones untouched. We hand over crazy amounts of money in aesthetic medicine clinics, enduring the pain of cryodestruction, even though nature created a biological laser that works absolutely for free. If Celandine had its own public relations manager, the wart removal procedure would cost an arm and a leg, but it modestly grows in the shadow of the fence. Cosmetologists are praying you do not remember this. Fact 12. Stop for a second. Wiping the sweat from your forehead? Already feel like running outside and gnawing on the lawn? Hold on. Do not run for the heart drops. We have not even reached the equator of our parade of absurdity. Take a deep breath, because now we are going to talk about pineapple weed, or wild chamomile. It is that green button growing in the dust by the roads, completely lacking those pretty white petals. We contemptuously kick it with our boots because it does not look like a picture from a tea commercial. But when it comes to relieving severe spasms and inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract, this plain-looking weed does not yield a single inch to noble pharmacy chamomile. Its essential oils work like an emergency stop button for your rebellious bowels. We chase the perfect shape, forgetting the essence, like teenagers choosing a smartphone solely by the color of its case. This chamomile is the unspoken champion of survival, and it is ready to pass this skill on to your body. But we keep paying for pretty packaging. Aesthetics over health, right? Fact 13. Colt's foot leaves, rough on the bottom and smooth on the top. We are used to considering them just a funny botanical curiosity from children's fairy tales. In reality, it is the ultimate weapon against bronchitis. Its tissues cover an irritated throat with a layer of thick natural mucus, turning a dry, chest-tearing cough into a productive one in just a couple of uses. We buy cough syrups made of sugar, dyes, and chemical mucolytics that just irritate the stomach. But Colt's foot works like a caring mechanic, pouring high-quality oil into the creaking engine of your lungs. This enveloping effect cannot be replicated by any synthetic mixture. If wizards were brewing a potion for a cold, they would definitely use this. We, on the other hand, voluntarily pour a chemical surrogate down our throats because it is sold with a strawberry flavor. Your bronchi are in shock from your choice. Fact 14. Bitter wormwood, whose aroma we associate with abandoned villages and melancholy. Its phenomenal, almost unbearable bitterness is not an evolutionary mockery, but a brilliant medical mechanism. When this bitterness hits the receptors on the tongue, it sends an alarm signal to the brain, forcing the stomach to produce maximum acid and enzymes. It is as if it cracks a whip over a lazy digestive system, instantly curing chronic indigestion, heaviness, and bloating. We eat enzyme preparations made from pig pancreases, artificially digesting food instead of letting our own body do it, making it even lazier. Wormwood, however, works like a strict fitness trainer for your stomach, forcing it to work on its own. It is the difference between hiring a porter and building your own muscles. Yes, it tastes like disappointment in life, but the effect surpasses any enzymes from the pharmacy. Keep swallowing capsules and your pancreas will soon go on a permanent vacation. Fact 15. Burr marigold, whose clinging seeds tightly bite into your clothes after a walk in the field. If you furiously tear it out by the roots and burn it, you're making a huge mistake. It is a supremely powerful natural antihistamine that puts many modern ointments to shame. Strong baths with a decoction of burr marigold can relieve terrible eczema, atopic dermatitis, and allergic rashes, even in newborn babies. We smear our skin with hormonal creams that thin the epidermis and cause addiction, while burr marigold softly blocks the release of histamine at the local level. Its action is like the work of an experienced negotiator calming down a rebellious immune system without using brute force. If cosmetics manufacturers could patent its effect, a tube would cost as much as an airplane wing. But since it grows in every ditch, we ignore it. Corporations are selling your own stupidity back to you in beautiful bottles. Fact 16. The red fluffy cones of meadow clover that children love to suck on for the sweet nectar. Ready to know the truth? These pink balls are overflowing with powerful phytoestrogens. Meadow clover tea gently and effectively eliminates hot flashes, sweating, and severe menopause symptoms, in many cases replacing aggressive hormone therapy. We stuff ourselves with synthetic hormones, risking thrombosis or endocrine system failure, while nature created the perfect balancer for the female body. The phytoestrogens of clover work like keys that perfectly fit the keyholes of your receptors, tricking the body and restoring its calm. It is like a hacker elegantly bypassing a system without firing a single shot. We pay for complex molecules from laboratories, even though salvation from a hormonal storm blooms in every meadow. Pharmacists are nervously smoking on the sidelines. Fact 17. Field horsetail, a strange little Christmas tree without needles that has survived to our days from the era of the dinosaurs. This resilient weed is a pure concentrate of natural silicon in a bioavailable form. A decoction of horsetail makes nails as hard as steel and hair literally unbreakable, unbending fishing line. We sweep expensive collagen supplements, keratin masks, and beauty vitamin complexes off store shelves, which are absorbed by 10% at best. Meanwhile, horsetail works like a microscopic architect, embedding silicon molecules into the structure of your keratin, reinforcing it from the inside. Imagine trying to strengthen a house of cards by spraying it with hairspray when you are offered titanium beams for free. This ancient plant saw the Tyrannosaurus rex. It certainly knows a thing or two about durability, but we continue to believe glossy magazines. Beauty salons will be furious about this information. Fact 18. Yellow sweet clover, a tall bush with small flowers and a strong sweet smell of hay. Hidden within its composition is coumarin, a substance that absolutely naturally thins thick blood and prevents the formation of deadly blood clots. It is funny to realize that science made its very first pharmacy anticoagulants based on derivatives of this plant. We drink acetylsalicylic acid by the handful, burning holes in our stomach lining to prevent heart attacks. Meanwhile, the humble sweet clover improves blood fluidity gently, without causing an acid apocalypse inside. Its work resembles the actions of a competent traffic controller at the intersection of your veins, preventing red blood cells from sticking together into deadly traffic jams. If you knew how many billions revolve around the blood medication industry, you would look at this weed with reverence. We buy a copy at the price of the original. A smart move for those who love to overpay. Fact 19. Fireweed or willow herb, the purple invader of wastelands and forest fire sites. For many years, it was considered just a cheap surrogate for Indian tea. How wrong we were. This weed has a clinically proven, extremely powerful anti-inflammatory effect on the prostate gland, successfully treating chronic prostatitis. Men panic and spend fortunes on humiliating procedures, swallow tons of antibiotics, and sponsor urology clinics. Meanwhile, fireweed quietly relieves prostate swelling, normalizing the work of the genitourinary system without hitting the liver. It acts like a cold compress on an overheated engine, returning a man to a normal life. It is as if you bought a membership to an elite private club, not knowing that the back door was always open to everyone for free. We are used to the idea that men's health is expensive, and marketers happily support this myth. Urologists will gladly write you another bill. Fact 20. Amaranth or pigweed, a malicious weed with red panicles that drives lovers of clean garden beds crazy. Hold on tight. This plant contains squalene. It is a unique substance that powerfully saturates all body tissues with oxygen at the cellular level and is currently sold in capsules for absolutely crazy money as an elixir of youth. We buy deep-sea shark liver extracts, sponsoring barbaric fishing just to get a couple of milligrams of squalene. Yet the pigweed we ruthlessly chop with shovels synthesizes it by the kilogram right under the sun. Amaranth squalene works like a turbocharger for your cells, forcing them to breathe and renew themselves at the speed of a young organism. You are literally trampling your own anti-aging therapy underfoot and then going to get cosmetic injections. If a tech genius sold amaranth, they would pack it in white plastic and call it iYouth, but you prefer to pay for the brand, not the substance. Fact 21. Common agrimony, a plant with yellow spikes respectfully called liverwort by the people. Do you have a kinked gallbladder or bile stasis? Have you already stocked up on synthetic choleretics and prepared for the pain in your right side? In vain. Agrimony restores normal bile flow, relieves duct spasms, and works 10 times softer than any chemical from a blister pack. It does not force the gallbladder to contract convulsively. It relaxes the sphincters and makes the bile as fluid as a mountain stream. This is similar to the work of a virtuoso conductor, making the orchestra of your digestion play in unison instead of banging drums at random. We are used to trusting only what has a barcode and a long instruction manual full of contraindications. Agrimony simply does its job while we seek salvation in gastroenterology departments. You are sponsoring your disease with your own hands. Fact 22. Orach, that very dull grass that saved entire generations of our ancestors during years of terrible famine. You turn your nose up at it, considering it a symbol of poverty. Meanwhile, orach contains more easily digestible protein than your praised organic spinach that costs crazy money. Moreover, thanks to its off-the-charts potassium level, it instantly relieves nocturnal muscle cramps. We buy trendy sports supplements, drink electrolytes from bright plastic bottles, trying to replenish our mineral balance after a workout. But a rake works as the perfect natural isotonic, instantly delivering potassium straight to the spasming muscles. It is like comparing gasoline from a puddle to high-octane fuel for racing cars. We have become too arrogant to eat what grows under our feet, preferring a synthetic powder with the taste of chemical raspberries. The fitness industry rests on your snobbery. Fact 23. Well, heroes of the consumer front, have your illusions not cracked at the seams yet? Congratulations on your iron nerves. Not everyone can withstand the realization of how much money they have flushed down the toilet. But let us finish off your worldview completely. Silverweed or goosegrass. This creeping weed with silvery leaves is the absolute champion of relieving smooth muscle spasms. It is capable of 100% eliminating severe menstrual cramps and intestinal colic. Girls buy painkillers by the handful, ruining their liver and kidneys, curling up into a ball of pain every month. Silverweed extract acts precisely, relaxing exactly those muscles that are cramped without shutting down half the nervous system. It is as if a sniper took out a terrorist, while pharmacy pills simply drop napalm on the city. We choose napalm because it is beautifully packaged. Great survival strategy, what can I say? Fact 24. Prickly thistle, which we try to walk past sideways to avoid tearing our clothes. Did you know its closest relative is the famous milk thistle? Thistle hides huge reserves of silymarin under its thorns. It is a unique compound capable of restoring liver cells literally trashed to pieces by alcohol, fatty food, and a bad environment. We ruin our bodies on the weekend, pouring liters of questionable alcohol into them. And on Monday, we run for expensive hepatoprotectors, which contain, surprise, the extract of that very same thistle. Silymarin works like a shield, preventing toxins from entering the cell and stimulates the synthesis of new proteins. It is like hiring elite security for your most important organ. But we stubbornly keep paying for a cardboard box with a pretty name, ignoring the free original. Your liver sends its warm regards. Fact 25. Wood sorrel, a small forest and garden weed looking like clover with a pleasant, sour taste. We think it is just a blade of grass for children's amusement. Actually, wood sorrel contains such a massive dose of organic oxalic acid and vitamin C that it can completely kill severe stomatitis and bleeding gums in a couple of days. We buy dental gels with antibiotics, disrupt the microflora of the oral cavity, and endure pain with every meal. Meanwhile, wood sorrel sap acts as a chemical peel for pathogenic bacteria, literally burning out the infection and instantly closing the wounds. Imagine a crew of microscopic disinfectors with flamethrowers operating in your mouth, touching only the enemies. It is the perfect survival tool when you're hundreds of miles away from a dentist. But we would rather pay a couple of $1,000 for a tube of ointment that will run out in a week. Dentists approve of your helplessness. Fact 26. Field mint, the very one that aggressively overgrows in ditches and damp areas. Do you think it is only good for adding to a summer cocktail? Its wild, non-selectively bred leaves contain so much aggressive essential menthol that if you just rub them on your temples, it relieves a severe migraine attack faster than powerful prescription analgesics. We swallow migraine pills, artificially narrowing the blood vessels in the brain, getting nausea and lethargy. In return, wild mint sap works like local anesthesia, instantly blocking pain signals in the nerve endings and relieving vascular spasms. It is like flipping the main pain switch in your brain's electrical panel. We are used to suffering for days, drawing the curtains and eating chemicals when salvation grows right next to the drain pipe. Pharmaceuticals sold you the idea that a headache is expensive, and you bought it. Fact 27. Wild chicory whose piercingly blue flowers grow on every roadside, covered in road dust. We drink an instant surrogate from jars, firmly believing we are leading a healthy lifestyle, but the real magic is hidden in its fresh root. If you drink a decoction of wild chicory root after a heavy meal, it phenomenally lowers the glycemic index of any food eaten. It works like a biochemical brake, preventing carbohydrates from instantly absorbing into the blood and turning into fat on your sides. We buy calorie blockers, sit on exhausting diets, and hate our reflection in the mirror while the sugar blocker grows right under our feet. It is as if you had a cheat code for a video game, but out of principle played on the hardest level, taking constant damage. Marketers have convinced us that weight loss is an elite service. Your metabolism is in shock from your naivety. Fact 28. Redshank, a grass with a funny name and long leaves with a dark spot. The old folk name speaks for itself as it roughly translates to hemorrhoid weed. You will not believe it, but this weed is officially recognized, even by conservative medicine, as one of the strongest remedies for treating bleeding hemorrhoids. Men and women secretly buy rectal suppositories, feel embarrassed to go to the pharmacy, and spend huge amounts on proctologists. A decoction of this weed acts as a powerful venotonic and coagulant, tightening dilated veins and instantly relieving inflammation. It works as the perfect restorer for your most delicate problems, returning elasticity to the vessels where it is scary to look. If you knew the markup on hemorrhoid medications, you would dig up this weed with your bare hands. But shame and marketing do their job. Proctology is a gold mine built on your fears. Fact 29. Ground ivy, a small creeping weed with purple flowers that weaves over the ground in a solid carpet. We fight it for years. unaware of its fantastic ability. Ground ivy has an incredibly rare property. It is capable of binding on a molecular level and flushing heavy metal salts such as lead and mercury out of the body. We live in megacities, breathe exhaust fumes, eat fish with microplastics and heavy metals, and then get expensive detox intravenous drips in trendy clinics. But this ubiquitous weed works like a chemical sponge, chelating poisons and safely removing them through the kidneys. Imagine a team of biochemists in hazmat suits working inside you, cleaning up the consequences of your urban life. We pay for the illusion of purity, ignoring the real biological filter. Detox gurus will be out of a job if you start looking under your feet. Fact 30. Heath speedwell, a delicate plant with pale blue flowers hiding in the grass. This is an ancient time-tested remedy for what we now call brain fog or chronic fatigue syndrome. Speedwell phenomenally improves blood microcirculation in the smallest capillaries of the brain, restoring clear memory and concentration without any synthetic nootropics. We swallow stimulants, drink liters of energy drinks and coffee, burning our nerve cells to the ground just to make it to the end of the workday. Meanwhile, Speedwell gently clears the vascular beds, delivering oxygen to the most remote areas of the cerebral cortex. It is like upgrading from an old dial-up modem to a fiber-optic internet connection in your head. We prefer to whip our brain with a chemical lash instead of giving it proper nourishment. Energy drink manufacturers raise their glasses to your chronic fatigue. Fact 31. St. John's wort, whose yellow flowers seem to us just a cute attribute of a summer field. This plant is officially recognized by big science as one of the most powerful natural antidepressants in the world. Its active substance, hyperesin, works on the principle of serotonin reuptake inhibitors, increasing the level of the joy hormone in the brain. We give tens of thousands to psychotherapists, sit on harsh prescription antidepressants with a bunch of side effects, turning into emotional zombies. St. John's wort brings the colors of life back, repairing your neurotransmitters in an absolutely natural way. True, it does have one quirk: it makes your skin hypersensitive to the sun, but that is a fair price to pay for escaping depression without pharmacy chemicals. It is like being given the keys to the room of happiness, but being asked to wear a sun hat. Pharmaceutical giants hate St. John's wort with all their souls. And it is clear why. Fact 32. White goosefoot, a plant that many confuse with orange, the wild and unpretentious relative of the currently trendy quinoa. Are you ready to pay triple for a pack of quinoa in the health food aisle because it is a trend? White goosefoot contains exactly the same set of amino acids. Its leaves perfectly treat severe vitamin deficiency and restore intestinal peristalsis thanks to the roughest, insoluble dietary fiber. We buy psyllium powders, drink artificial laxatives, turning our intestines into a lazy tube. But white goosefoot works like a stiff toilet brush that goes through the entire gastrointestinal tract, cleaning out deposits of toxins and forcing the muscles to contract. It is rough, effective, and absolutely free, but we want our health packaged in a craft paper bag with the word eco on it. Snobbery is a disease for which we pay every day. Fact 33. Yarrow, a stiff stem with an umbrella of white flowers. Legend has it that Achilles used it to treat the terrible slash wounds of his soldiers during the Trojan War. And this is no myth. Yarrow contains achillane, an alkaloid that almost instantly coagulates blood in deep external wounds, forming a dense scab and categorically preventing suppuration. We smear our cuts with iodine, pour hydrogen peroxide on them, and treat secondary infections with antibiotic ointments. Meanwhile, yarrow acts as a biological glue and an antiseptic all rolled into one. Imagine a first aid kit of the future where one remedy solves all tissue damage problems in seconds. It has existed for thousands of years, but we stubbornly pretend that salvation lies only at the bottom of a pharmacy bag. Ancient warriors would have laughed at our fears until they cried. We traded the real power of nature for the illusion of safety with a receipt. So, we have just steamrolled your established worldview? You thought nature was stupid and science in white coats wanted to save you. No, nature is brilliant in its simplicity, and the system just wants you to be a convenient, perpetually sick client with an open wallet. We have turned our bodies into trash cans for beautiful chemical compounds, diligently destroying real medicine in our own backyards. If you had the courage to watch and read this act of marketing exorcism to the very end, congratulations, you have taken the first step toward exiting the matrix. Do not forget to subscribe so you do not miss the next portion of harsh truth. And now, write in the comments, which 34th weed did we forget to mention? I am waiting for your options. Let us see who is truly awake around here.